interrupt you because we only have 10 more minutes left to the show, and I really want to concentrate on now and the future. Do you have proof that Netanyahu was indeed a member of the Council on Foreign Relations? Okay, because I've seen his name on a list of members, but that list did not come from the official CFR website. It came from some other website claiming that this was a list. So that's why I want to check this.
He was buried in a list of CFR members, and they did it in alphabetical order, the list I have. In 1992, unless someone went to an extreme hoax, planting his name for some reason, in 1992, he was a member of the Council on Foreign Relations.
Okay, but do you know where you got that list from?
Oh, boy.
Okay, so you'll check that for us, because I'm very interested, because it wasn't from the CFR website as far as I remember. Let me ask you another question. If indeed he was groomed...
Yeah, but the CFR website of 1992, I mean, who even had a computer in 1992?
Okay, right. Okay, but let's fast forward and go to now. We have a man in office who has it's believed that he was a CFR member, which is a very globalist organization, an organization that wants to see a one world government, that wants to dissolve the national sovereignties and bring everybody in under this umbrella government. And he is now negotiating a quote-unquote peace between enemies of Israel. Israel's being attacked right now. We've had missiles and rockets on Eilat, on Ashkelon, on Sderot. Just in the past week, 3 different cities have been attacked. And yet he says on Larry King, and he says on the CFR, when he gave a speech to CFR just recently when he was in the United States, he says that he wants to see a Palestinian state. So tell us, I mean, what is he going to negotiate Israel away? Who is he? Who do you believe he's really working for, or where? Who's pulling his strings?
I told you who he's working for. I told you who groomed him. I told you who made him a diplomatic star from a furniture salesman. Essentially, his handlers have been Kissinger, Schultz, and Richard Pearl, with the possibility of George Bush, the father, thrown in as well. That's his handlers. Keep this in... Oh, boy. I've got a message, and this is a little off, but I think you should wake up to one fact. Don't vote. Your vote is meaningless. Both sides of the political equation, which in Israel... the right and the religious combined are by far the vast majority of the Israeli people today, and they still get labor, and they get fakes like Ariel Sharon and Bibi Netanyahu instead of Cheirut. The Likud is not Cheirut. It's not the Cheirut of Menachem Begin. What we're dealing with, there's no point in voting. Your vote is meaningless.
Okay, so do you think he's going to bargain away, that he's going to negotiate away Jerusalem and some of the settlements here in Israel?
Some of them.
All of them?
Look.
I mean, he talks about keeping big blocks.
Israel is, in the last few days in Israel, imagine this keeping up for a long, long time in the future. That, yes, Ashkelon, Eilat, and all this. Imagine it being never-ending and Israel getting so tired that it just says, forgetting everything else, forget dignity right now, we just want a day of peace. This is what I've been trying to explain to you, and it hasn't been easy. Netanyahu has been playing the dirty games of violence to wear people down. That's how he pulled out of Hebron, and he's doing it today. Don't believe for a second that Barak. All right, you had the whole incident with the flotilla, and today Israel agreed to participate in the UN investigation of the flotilla. Please, your defense minister ordered Israeli commandos armed with paint guns onto a ship that they knew was filled with radical and angry people. They armed them with paint guns. Everyone who landed on that ship was in danger of his life within seconds, but they could really mess up somebody's shirt.
Okay, Barry, give me one second here, because I want everybody to understand exactly what you're saying. So correct me if I'm wrong. So you are saying that you believe that Netanyahu was groomed for the position to be a leader of Israel by the Council on Foreign Relations and other international interests in order that he should wear Israel down, that the Israeli people will be willing to just give up everything just to have a day of peace. And that's exactly what he's doing now, that he's basically slowly bleeding Israel. Is that what you're saying?
He's doing what he's told to do, and that's what's happening. Yes. It may not be his idea, but that's what's happening, of course. Israel is wearing out now. I mean, the pressure is getting really ridiculous. Tamar, I want to do something. You worried me a second ago. I want to do a counterplug to my website. Just give me 1 second.
All right, some people are reporting that they're getting onto your website. Other people are saying that they're also getting a warning. So people can check themselves.
I got a major problem. People, if you want to see my books, go to lulu.com and not the website. LULU.com, and there's a find. It says find right in my name. CHAMISH. And you'll get to my books. And, you have to write me directly. There's no choice. If you want to write me, don't go to the website right now. I don't want to harm you. Write Chamish B.A. That's CHAMISHBA @gmail.com. There, I just fixed the website. Wow, Tamar, I mean, you really shocked me tonight.
Well, I don't know. It looks like somebody doesn't want people going to visit your website. That's what it looks like.
Tamar, you would be amazed for a guy that's not being enriched by the system, putting it mildly, how many people know me.
All right, let me ask you another question, Barry, because I'm sure a lot of people are wondering this as well. You are an investigative reporter. You have busted a lot of stories that, the truth that goes on behind the scenes, like with the Rabin murder. You have a lot of Israelis, I think at least 30% of the population believes your book that he was indeed murdered and assassinated, but not by... Okay. All right. So that the story isn't like the government says now, but I want to ask you this question because this is something that all investigative reporters have to contend with. Do you think that sometimes you are fed information that is not correct purposely in order to set you up for the future for a fall and to embarrass you and to discredit you?
Oh, Tamar, I've been at this now for 15 years, and so little of my, all these books that I've written, the Bye Bye Gaza, and the Compromised Land. After all this time, if I was untruthful, I would have been caught. I'm the king of filtering out hoaxes and frauds, and time has proven that. Look, Tamar, I may have critics, but they're not criticizing my information.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Let's get back to the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's negotiating peace for Israel right now with the enemies of Israel, with the Fatah, who is in charge in the Palestinian Authority. So let me ask you this in a more personal, from a more personal anger. How could it be that somebody, because this is what people are thinking, someone who comes from a family who was very Zionistic, his father was involved in the underground before the state of Israel
became... Oh, you're talking about Livni now.
No, we're talking about Bibi also, Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so people are wondering how can... your own question. All right, so people are wondering how can someone from such a background that loves Israel, whose brother served in the IDF or all of his brothers served in the elite units, and Zionistic, he comes off as a right winger, certainly used to talk a little bit more leaning that way, and yet he could knowingly take on a position of accepting to be groomed and accepting to bring Israel to a very weak place on the political spectrum in order to wear her down and make her weaker. How do you explain that?
I'm going to do something I shouldn't do, but I'm going to do it.
Okay, but you have 3 minutes to do it.
All right. this is a nasty approach, and I've known this for years, and I've never said it because all right, I'm going to say it now, and you take it for what it is. I knew this British journalist, Jewish Chronicle. She was a pretty attractive lady, and she was interviewing me for something. Anyway, she was in a car, supposedly just interviewing Netanyahu on the way to something. It doesn't matter. She said, this man is not normal. There's something deeply mentally wrong with him. Now, I said that, and I don't even know why. I've kept that secret for a long time. There's something mentally abnormal about Benjamin Netanyahu. He can lie bald-faced. He can betray anyone he wants to because there's something wrong with his mind. You asked me personally.
All right, everything you've heard just now is hearsay. It can't be proved, and you take it as you just take it with that as a grain of salt.
If you want it, it's not hearsay.
So you're saying that he is just you're saying that he's kind of got something. Well, why can't it be that he's a normal person that was just corrupted? Maybe, you know, like most politicians or many politicians are corrupted throughout the years. They come in starry-eyed and idealistic, and they end up, you know, falling into the system because they see they can't beat it, so they might as well play the game.
Not everyone is willing to sell their people out. I think you misjudge how big this game is and the responsibilities of our leaders are. Not everyone has such a lack of conscience that they can do this. Oh, Tamar, you know that.
All right, so what can people do now? If your information is indeed true, and so what can people do to make the situation better? What can we do?
There's a real terrible, and I hate to break this to you, we could have done something maybe at the time of Oslo to stop it, maybe at the time of the Rabin assassination to stop it, but right now Israel is surrounded by about 120,000 missiles with no defense. Israel can threaten and make these countries pay, but there's a real chance Israel could also lose.
All right.
We're in a situation now that if we keep on with this leadership, it's going to be worse no matter what. But the damage they've done is incalculable.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there just because we've come to the end of the show.
I'm sorry I answered this way. You asked me personally.
Yes, no, I'm interested in your opinion, and I'm sure our listeners are. So we'll leave it at that, only because we've come to the end of the show. We just don't have any more time. But people can be in touch with Barry. They can purchase his books at lulu.com. You can also visit his website at barrychamish.com as well. And again, just to remind you, everything that you've heard here, you take it with a grain of salt.
It's absolutely true.
Okay, but, you know, they'll have to come to their own decisions. And if indeed, you know, it looks bleak, God controls everything. If you can't do anything because you don't have the power, at least pray, do good deeds, and try to turn the tide that way. That's what we need to do. Thank you for being on the show, Barry Chamish, Barry Chamish, barrychamish.com. And I'll be back with you next week.
Good night, Tamar. You were very good. Bye, all.
It ain't easy being a player, but I'm glad I got the new Israel National Radio player so I can listen to the beat with Ben Brisky and get my groove on. When it's Sunday night and I'm feeling right, I turn on a little Barry White, and afterwards I flip on the beat with Ben Brisky because he puts my soul at ease. Yo, when a mainstream media is hating on Israel, I flip on Israel National Radio.
A clinical study at the Urological Clinic in Beersheba, Israel, found that those suffering from bladder or urinary problems experience significant relief when taking the Apantoma capsule. Don't just suffer. Order Prisso brand Apantoma capsules made from the Apantha flower grown right here in Israel. Visit the website at www.prisso.com. That's PRISSO.com.